Hello everyone, I am Yanbi Chaudhary, your English instructor. Today I will be guiding you through Unit 3 Health and Wellness. Getting started, look at the figure below and talk about different dimensions of wellness. So, wellness refers to the overall state of being in good physical, mental, and emotional health. It goes beyond the absence of illness and encompasses holistic approaches to well being. Wellness includes various aspects of individual's life such as physical fitness, mental and emotional well-being, social connections, spiritual fulfillment, and overall life satisfaction. Now let's talk about the figure. Eight dimension of wellness. So first dimension is given emotional wellness. This dimension focuses on understanding and managing our emotions effectively, promoting self-awareness and ability to cope with stress. Next is intellectual wellness. So, intellectual wellness involves engaging in lifelong learning, expanding knowledge, stimulating creativity, and stimulating critical thinking skills. Another is spiritual wellness. Spiritual wellness encompasses finding meaning and purpose in life, connecting with our values and beliefs, and seeking inner peace through practices like meditation. Environmental wellness. This dimension emphasizes the importance of health and sustainable environment, promoting behavior that preserve natural resources, reduce pollution, and create safe living spaces. Number 5 is financial wellness. Financial wellness relates to managing our finance, budgeting, saving, and making informed decisions to achieve financial stability. Number 6 is occupational wellness. So, occupational wellness involves finding fulfillment and satisfaction in our work and choosing career path, maintaining a healthy work life balance, and nurturing positive relationship in the workplace. So number 7 is social wellness. Social wellness centers around building and maintaining healthy relationships, fostering a sense of belonging, empathy, and effective communication with others. And the last one is physical wellness. So physical wellness focuses on taking care of our bodies through regular physical activities, nutrition, eating habits, sufficient sleep, and avoiding harmful substances. So now remember, these dimensions are interconnected and influence each other, contributing to our overall well-being and quality of life. Reading 1. Now look at the picture and answer these questions. A. Who do you think the woman is? The woman is a nurse. What is she doing? She is taking care of a child. Have you ever been to hospital for treatment? How did the hospital staff treat you? So you can write your own now answer. Let's talk about the text, and before going through the text, let me give you a short introduction about the text. The following text is a letter written by an appreciative mother who recently went through a challenging experience at a local community hospital with her 9-week-old baby. While expressing gratitude for the skilled doctors and nurses who took care of her child, the mother also shares her disappointment with the negative behavior and the lack of teamwork she observed among the healthcare professionals during their hospital stay. The letter emphasized the importance of placing patients and their families as the primary focus, maintaining effective communication, and treating each other with respect and professionalism. It serves as a reminder for healthcare workers to reflect on their action and make conscious effort to improve the patient experience. Through this personal account, the mother urges her fellow healthcare professionals to provide care that instill confidence and reassurance in both patient and their families. Dear healthcare worker, I recently experienced a parent's worst nightmare. Nightmare is a frightening or unpleasant experience. So, here, as a parent, the speaker had a frightening and distressing experience. One evening, my 9-week-old baby developed an extremely high fever. So, the speaker's 9-week-old baby suddenly developed a very high body temperature. We rushed to our local community hospital and were admitted through the emergency department to the pediatric unit. So the speaker quickly took her baby to the local hospital and was admitted to the pediatric unit through the emergency department. बच्चाहरूलाई गर्ने उपचार कोठालाई नै यहाँ pediatric unit भनिएको छ. We were discharged 3 days later. So after 3 days in the hospital, the speaker and her baby were released from the hospital. Thanks to the skilled doctor and nurses who care for our precious little one. So the speaker is expressing gratitude to the medical staff who provided care for her baby. While our infant's care and health outcomes were fantastic, our experience was less than satisfactory. So here, although the medical treatment provided to her baby was very good, the speaker did not have a positive experience in the hospital. So overall, the passage talks that once upon a time, a little baby fell ill and had a high fever, causing worry for their parents. They immediately rushed to the hospital seeking medical help. They stayed there for 3 whole days, where the kind doctors and nurses worked tirelessly to provide excellent care and make the baby feel better. Despite the baby's recovery, the parents did not feel entirely content with their experience at the hospital. So now you can see the word meaning: nightmare, a frightening or unpleasant experience. Pediatric, relating to the medical care of children. Fantastic, impressive, very good, excellent. Now let's talk about second paragraph. During my hospital stay, many staff took the opportunity to badmouth their colleagues to me when we were alone. So while the speaker was staying at the hospital, many staff members took advantage of opportunity to speak negatively about their colleagues in front of the innocent patient. It implies that those staff members lacked professionalism and were gossiping behind their colleagues' back. I am not sure if this occurred because I looked rather trustworthy or they wanted to let me know they were more competent than their colleagues. So here the speaker is uncertain as to why the hospital staff felt comfortable enough to speak negatively about their colleagues with the speaker. Whether it was because I seemed trustworthy or because they wanted to proclaim their own competence. The emergency nurses complained about the doctor's order and the delay in response of the pediatric nurses. So this means that the nurses who work in the emergency department were not happy with the instructions given by the doctors. They felt that the doctor's orders were not good, or maybe there were some problems with them. And the delay in response of pediatric nurses. So the nurses in the emergency department were also unhappy because they felt that the nurses who work with children took a long time to respond to their request or message. They expected the pediatric nurses to respond more quickly, but there was a delay. The pediatric nurses complained about the emergency room nurses' inability to get an intravenous line. So here the sentence means that the nurses who take care of children were not happy because they noticed that the nurses in the emergency room were having difficulty in putting a small tube called an intravenous line. So this means that the nurses who take care of children were not happy because they noticed that the nurses in the emergency room were having difficulty in putting a small tube called an intravenous line into a patient's body. So in simpler word, the pediatric nurses were upset because they noticed that the emergency room nurses were having a hard time putting a small tube into a patient's body. The pediatrician complained about orders made by emergency doctors. So the pediatrician expressed frustration with the orders given by the emergency doctor. Once admitted, our pediatric nurses complained about the pediatrician's approach to the care of my baby. So after the baby was admitted to the hospital, the nurse in charge of taking care of children complained because they were not happy with the way the pediatricians were caring for the baby. They felt that the doctors were doing something wrong or not doing it in the best way. Then the pediatrician complained about the pediatric nurse's lack of ability to obtain a urine sample. Here, the pediatrician expressed frustration with the pediatric nurse's inability to collect a urine sample. So, in this paragraph, the speaker expresses her experience with the hospital. She had a hospital stay and noticed that some staff members were saying negative things about their colleagues. They were unsure why this was happening, but they heard complaints from the emergency nurses, pediatric nurses, pediatricians, and even their own pediatric nurse. Everyone seemed to be unhappy with someone else's work. Now let's see the word meaning. Badmouth, to speak negatively about someone behind their back. Trustworthy, reliable and dependable, deserving or trust, विश्वास गर्न योग्य. Competent, having the necessary skill, knowledge and ability to perform a task well. क्षमतावान. Intravenous, into or through a vein. Pediatrician, a medical doctor who specializes in care of children and infants. Now let's talk about another paragraph. At every opportunity, the patient in me wanted to scream at the top of my lungs. Here the speaker, who is also a parent, felt a strong desire to shout very loudly whenever she had a chance. Can everyone stop complaining about each other and look after my sick baby? From my vantage point, it seemed that everyone was so focused on their own need and skills. So the speaker is saying that from her perspective, it appeared that everyone around her was only thinking about themselves and what they wanted or what they were good at. That they appeared completely insensible that there was a sick baby that needed their help. So it seemed like everyone was not aware or not paying attention to the fact that there was a sick baby who needed their help. So it seemed like everyone was not aware or not paying attention to the fact that there was a sick baby who needed their help. They were not being sensitive and responsive to the baby's needs. In fact, it was downright disappointing. So downright disappointing means that something is extremely or completely disappointing. The parent was very disappointed by their behavior. They expected people to care more about the baby, but instead they were more focused on their own interests. This did nothing other than state to me that egos were taking priority over my daughter's care. So here the parent felt that all the arguing and focusing on themselves showed that people were more concerned about their own egos rather than taking care of the parent's sick daughter. To summarize, the parent felt frustrated because it seemed like everyone around her was more interested in themselves and not paying enough attention to the sick baby. This was very disappointing to the parent because they wanted to give priority to their own egos rather than the child. Now you can see the word meaning. Vantage point, view or perspective, insensible, lacking awareness or consciousness, downright, truly, absolute, complete, priority, thing that is regarded as a more important than another. I cannot tell you how many times nurses told me I am so busy today. So the nurses repeatedly informed the speaker about their high level of busy schedule. I am not sure if they were telling me to excuse the fact that my daughter's medication were not on time, or maybe they were simply looking for support. Here the speaker is uncertain about the intention behind the statement of the nurses that they were busy. She is unsure whether asking for excuse was to apologize for the delay in daughter's medication or if they were seeking emotional support. Every time I heard this statement, my head played my own version that sounded more like your daughter is not a priority. So, whenever the speaker heard the nurses say they were busy, it meant for the speaker that the nurse were implying that her daughter was not a priority. Now let's see word meaning. So medication, that means medicine prescribed by the doctor, or you can say treatment as well. Do not use patients or their families as your personal confidant. So here the line is general instruction, or you can say advice to the nurses, saying that they should not treat patients or their families as someone to share their personal concerns or problem with. I was in that hospital room to care for my infant and see her condition improve, not to hear that staff were not equipped to see this goal through. So here the speaker explains that their purpose in being in hospital room was to take care of the baby and witness her getting better. She did not want to hear that the staff were not prepared or capable of achieving his goal. Patients and their families need to know they are your priority and your job is to care for them, effort to restore health. So here the speaker or the parent emphasized that patient and their families should feel assured that they are the nurse's top priority and the nurse's job is to provide care with the aim of improving the patient's health. Please take time to tell them this. Share positive news with them as if you are happy too, because I know you are. So here the speaker requests the nurses to take the time to communicate these sentiments to the patient and their families. She encourages the nurse to share positive news and show happiness as the person believes that the nurses genuinely care and are happy when the patient's condition improve. Now you can see word meaning. Confident, that is a person with whom private matters and problem are discussed. एकदमै नजिकको साथीलाई हामी कन्फिडेन्ट भन्न सक्छौँ. So overall the passage means that if you work in a hospital and are taking care of a sick person, you should not talk to their family members about your personal problems or things that are bothering you. Your job is to take care of the patient and make them feel better. It is important to let the patient and their family know that they are your top priority and that you are working hard to help them get better. You should also share good news with them and be happy with things improve because you care about their well-being. Use the chart, read it, write on it and refer to it. So here the speaker is telling the healthcare professionals to use a chart or a document where important information about the patient is written. They should read the information in the chart, write additional details if needed, and refer to it whenever they need to know something about the patient. After all, this is where everything that happens should be documented. So the speaker is saying again that the chart is important because it is the place where all the important information about the patient is written down. Anything significant that happens during the patient's treatment should be recorded in the chart. At every interaction with a physician and their students, I was asked the same questions. Was she premature? And was your delivery normal? So the speaker is saying that every time they met with a doctor and their students, they were asked the same questions. The questions were about whether the speaker's baby was born earlier than expected and whether the delivery of the baby was without any complications. I answered these questions the same each time. Surely someone wrote this down in our chart. So the speaker is saying that she gave the same answer to these questions every time. She expected that someone would have written down the answer in their chart. So the healthcare professionals would not need to ask the same question repeatedly. The majority of healthcare workers that approached my daughter referred to her as male. So many healthcare workers who came to take care of the speaker's daughter mistakenly referred to her as a boy. I would politely correct them with her or she. The speaker would kindly tell the healthcare workers that their daughter should be referred to using female pronoun like her, she. My daughter spent her time in the hospital wearing only a diaper. Despite no obvious gender indicator, surely somewhere in my paperwork it indicated that she was female. Here the speaker's daughter was dressed in only a diaper during her time in hospital and there were no clear sign indicating her gender. However, the speaker believed that the paperwork given to the hospital would have mentioned that she was a girl. As sleep deprivation and stress took their toll, I wondered what other mistakes may exist on my baby's paperwork. So the speaker was feeling tired and stressed and she stated worrying if there were any other errors on her baby's paperwork made by the hospital staff. Please be careful of what you say to patient and how you say it. So the speaker is requesting healthcare workers to be cautious and thoughtful in their words and how they communicate with patients. When you are caught on such a slip up, be genuine in your apology and make a sincere effort to refrain from repeating the same mistake next time. So if healthcare workers make a mistake like referring to someone by the wrong gender, they should apologize sincerely and make a genuine effort to avoid making same mistake again. Patients and their families need to know that you are listening and that you care about what it is they are saying. So here, the patients or their families want to feel that healthcare workers are paying attention to their concerns and genuinely care about what they have to say. The gender error is one that left me with a sense of sloppiness and lack of focus on behalf of all who made this innocent mistake. So the incorrect gender reference made the speaker feel that the people who made the mistake were not careful or focused enough, which made them feel a sense of carelessness. So overall the paragraph shows that the speaker's daughter was referred to using the wrong pronoun by healthcare workers while she was in the hospital. The speaker wondered if other mistakes existed on her baby's paperwork. This mistake made the speaker feels like the healthcare workers were careless and not paying attention. It is important for healthcare workers to be careful with what they say to patients and their families. This mistake about gender made the speaker feel like the healthcare workers were sloppy and not paying attention. Deprivation, the state of lacking or being deprived of something. In the context, sleep deprivation means not getting enough sleep, referring to stop oneself from doing something. Sloppiness or lack of neatness, care or attention to detail. I am a healthcare worker just like you. So the speaker is saying that she is also a health worker care similar to them. People trust us to take care of their most precious loved one in their most vulnerable state. So the speaker is talking about how patients and their families trust healthcare workers to care for their loved ones when they are sick and physically or emotionally weak, that is in a vulnerable condition. This is our job and we do it with pride, but how we treat each other is dreadful. So the speaker acknowledges that taking care of patient is their job and they take pride in it. However, they also mention that the way healthcare workers treat each other is not good or pleasant. Patients know that healthcare is not a glamorous career choice. They know that most of us do it because we want to help sick people get well. So here patients understand that working in healthcare is not always glamorous. They know that most healthcare workers choose this career because they genuinely want to help sick people get better. Do your best to confirm this belief when people are in your care. So the speaker is encouraging healthcare workers to do their best to show patients that they truly care and want to help them when they are receiving care. I am not innocent of uttering some of these statements above. However, I can assure you that I will be more conscious of what I say to patients and their families after my daughter's hospital stay. So here the speaker admits that she has made some of the mistakes mentioned earlier in the passage. However, she promises to be more aware and careful about what she says to patients and their families after her own daughter's experience in hospital. Fellow healthcare workers choose to interact with your patients in a way that instills confidence in yourself and your fellow team members. So here the speaker is addressing other healthcare workers and suggesting that they should interact with patients in a way that build trust and confidence both in themselves and among their team members. You alone have the power to positively shape the patient's experience. Here the speaker is emphasizing that healthcare workers have the ability to make a positive impact on patients' experience through their action, words, and attitude. Yours truly, an appreciative mother. Now let's see word meaning. Vulnerable, being in a position of weakness. Attractive, glamorous, that is attractive or exciting. Dreadful, extremely unpleasant, shocking. Instill, establish a particular quality or belief in someone's mind. So the main idea of the passage is that healthcare workers have a responsibility to treat patients with care and respect and to interact with them in a way that instill confidence and positivity both in themselves and among their fellow team members. The speaker emphasized the importance of this, acknowledging that while healthcare worker is not always glamorous, it is a profession that patients rely on for their care of their loved one in vulnerable states. Now let's do the exercise. Match the words in column A with their meaning in column B. So I have just written the answer. Nightmare, that is a very unpleasant or frightening experience. Third number को हुन्छ यसको लागि. Pediatric, relating to the medical care of children. IV, that means fourth. Intravenous, into or connected to vein. That is fifth number. C को fifth number भयो, 5 number. Priority, a thing that is regarded as more important than others. Your second number भयो. Indications, treatment using drugs, that's become first. Confident, a person with whom private matters and problems are discussed, that 9 number. Deprivation, the lack of something considered to be necessity, that means okay, 8. And the last one, H number, vulnerable, that is 6, in need of special care, support or protection. Now let's do true and false. So the sender of the letter was happy with the service of the health workers, that is false. The staff of different departments in the hospital had harmonious relationship with each other, that again false. C number, the hospital staff were concerned with the requirement of the sick child, that is again false. The staff of the hospital shared their personal feeling with the writer, that's true. The chart was unclear about the patient's gender, that's true. The author took mistakes of the health worker normally, that's again false. The writer seemed to be more sincere in duty than the hospital staff, true. That's true. Now C number, answer the following questions. What was the nightmare of the author? So the nightmare of the author was her 9-week-old baby developing extremely high fever. This is the answer. What do you think the main purpose of the letter is? So the main purpose of the letter is to express the author's dissatisfaction with the behavior and communication among the hospital staff during the child's hospital stay and to emphasize the importance of patient-centered care. According to the author, what was the main weakness of the hospital staff? The main weakness of the hospital staff, according to the author, was their focus on their own needs skill, which led to lack of attention and priority given to the sick baby. Did the nurse really say your daughter is not a priority? Why did the author think so? No, the nurse did not explicitly say your daughter is not priority. The author interpreted the nurse's repeated statement of being busy as implying that her daughter was not a priority in their workload and care. E number. What do the patient and their families expect from the health workers? Patient and their families expect health workers to prioritize their care, listen to their concern, communicate effectively, and provide proper treatment and support to restore health. List the question that the author was asked frequently in the hospital. So the answer is here. The author was frequently asked the following questions in the hospital. Was she premature? Was your delivery normal? Question number Z. Why did the health workers make a gender error about the author's daughter? So the answer is here. The health workers made a gender error about the author's daughter because they consistently referred to her as a male, despite her not having any obvious gender indicated due to the wearing only a diaper. The author expected the hospital's paperwork to indicate the correct gender. Now question number H. According to the author, how do people perceive the career of health workers? So according to the writer, people perceive the career of health workers as not being a glamorous choice, but rather a profession pursued with the intention of helping sick people to get well. Thanks for watching and please subscribe the channel Engage English.